I'm Tom Silver, and I'm a hypnotist. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I've been conducting hypnotism for almost 30 years now. I started with the general education from a local institute, and then I started pioneering new methods and new technologies, and actually now have come to the next level of hypnosis, which I think we should all understand, and that's scientific hypnotism, EEG hypnosis, neurofeedback. How many of you have done biofeedback in the past? Anyone use a biofeedback machine? Okay, one person over there, okay. Well, our mind operates on actually certain frequency states. And that's really what hypnosis is. That's what almost all therapy is based on, these frequency receptive states. And so in this course, you're going to learn all about EEG, brainwave frequency monitoring. Also in the book that I've presented to you, I have graphs, EEG graphs actually. I created a scale which I feel is very conducive to reaching certain frequency states for different types of therapies. Now, has any of you been into EEG yet? Anyone using it or understand it? Okay. Well, I usually teach this at the end of the course, but a good friend of mine mentioned to me, why don't you talk about EEG at the beginning so people can have a good understanding of it? And I think that's really important. At the end of the course, we're going to be hooking you up to EEG machines. You're going to be testing your own frequency changes. And actually, it's really exciting because this is really the breakthrough of what hypnosis and hypnotists really needed. And that is a scientific tool to validate these receptive states that our clients go into. How many of you ever had a client leave your office and they say, well, I don't think I was hypnotized. I was aware of everything that went on. And that's true. Not everyone loses consciousness. In a very low frequency state of what we might call delta, 0 hertz to about 4 or 5 hertz, in that low state, there is a certain amount of amnesia that could occur. So some people might not remember the session. Most people are still aware when they're hypnotized, but they're skeptical because they're aware. So sometimes we need to validate that frequency receptive change by utilizing an EEG machine. And I use it sometimes when I get the real tough intellectual analytical people that come in that have a lot of confusion about hypnosis. Many people are confused about the science of hypnosis. From the old days in the movies and things like that, they think it's kind of a mysterious force, and it's really a technology. And that's what we are. We are mind technologists in our own way. So this course is going to be 3 days of hands-on training. I'm going to be teaching you different physical, interactive, rapid induction techniques. Sometimes we call these things shock inductions, which create a lot of confusion. I remember when I was doing a course in England, and I said I was going to come over and teach shock induction methods. Everyone got all afraid. Well, insurance isn't going to cover it. And they're thinking of electricity and all this other stuff. Just like people think of hypnotism as those pocket watches moving, look at the pocket watch, which is basically an object of concentration to lower the brainwave frequencies. So everything that we do is tuning people into low frequency states. People reach those states automatically every single day when they drive their car and they're on automatic pilot and they're consciously talking or doing things. They're in a low frequency state and the subconscious is driving for them. When you watch a movie and you start to feel the feelings of the movie, all of a sudden you're on this emotional roller coaster ride of the movie. The frequencies of your brain have lowered to maybe what we might call an alpha or a theta state. The lower the frequencies, the more tuned you are to the subconscious. Some people actually, some clients are very hypersensitive and hypersuggestible. You might have clients that come in like that are very affected by things in the environment, and that's because they're in a low frequency state. But that low frequency state, if they're not thinking positively, they might bring up negative emotions, negative feelings, overreactive feelings. Some people watch the news on TV and they're affected by it because they're in a state of magnified concentration, a low frequency state where the subconscious is responding emotionally to what's going on, the stimulus in the environment. So this course is great because we're going to learn rapid physical shock induction techniques. I'm a big believer, the more deeper you can get a person into hypnosis, we call it somnambulism, I call it delta. I like to think of things on frequency states versus hypnosis terms because they're kind of confusing to the general public, somnambulism. There's medicines that they have nowadays they're putting out, like sleep medicines, Ambien, or these other medicines. They say they might cause somnambulism. People don't know what somnambulism is. Somnambulism was coined after the term of sleepwalking, someone that's walking in their sleep. So, and they're in that somnambulistic state, they're in the lowest frequency state because they're not consciously aware of what they're doing. That's why sleepwalkers, when they awaken, they have no memory of what's occurred. A real good indication that someone might be a very good receptive subject is if you ask them a simple question, have you ever walked in your sleep during your life? If they say yeah, then with the right techniques you can produce that low frequency state. The lower the frequency, the less resistant. Remember that. So once you can get that conscious out of the way, then you can really do some really wonderful work with that subconscious hard drive. Our mind is a computer. It's a dual processing computer. Conscious triggers the subconscious. Subconscious program from early childhood stimulus, things that come into our environment. Subconscious continually becomes affected when traumatic events happen in people's lives, or even movies. Sometimes movies occur, and I'm seeing clients because now everyone's afraid of sharks because they saw the Jaws movie. Your kids are afraid of sleeping because they saw the Freddy Krueger movies. What happened? They're watching a movie, they're reaching a state of magnified concentration, frequencies in their brain have lowered to a low frequency state, and they're affected by the movie. If it's a happy movie, you feel great. If it's a sad movie, you might be affected by it. What we're going to learn is you're going to learn different techniques that I've used. I've done lots of TV shows over the past number of years. I've had my own CBS special, been on Ricky Lake, Montel, The Sally Show, the other half with Dick Clark and Danny Bonaducci. And I've showed some real powerful life changes, even removing fears and phobic anxieties that some people have had for 20, 30 years, because I was able to reach the low frequency state, get into that subconscious hard drive, and delete the emotions related to the fear or the phobia, and then replace it. And that's what we're going to also be teaching you, some of the methods that I've been working on called emotion replacement therapy. When you delete an emotion or delete a habit, you need to replace it with something else. But the method that I use is a wonderful way of interactive hypnotherapy where I can actually monitor the intensity of a feeling or an emotion through a physical movement, an ideomotor response. Being able to delete it where the client can't even feel it anymore. They can't trigger it. They can't bring it back up. And then I'm able to replace it.